Hey everybody, I'm Joe Iconis.
And I'm Jennifer Ashley Tepper.
And on today's show, we're going to be talking about Play the Princess, which is a song that I wrote that's about theater and art and music and society's perception of us and the boxes that society places us in. And also, it was cut from my musical Bloodsong of Love.
Who doesn't love a cut song? Cut songs are like the secret gems of musical theater. And this one is performed by the great Destinee and L. Morgan Lee. So killer duet. Everyone's going to want to hear this one.
Do it.
I'm not surprised, no, not surprised. See it every day of my life. And I'm playing the whore and the wife.
Play the Princess. So this is a song that sort of is cut from a musical of yours.
It was,
Yeah.
truly. I don't have a lot of those. I feel like I don't have a lot of proper chunk songs. Or I don't have a lot of ones that can be performed outside the musical, because when I write a song for musical, it tends to be so deliriously specific, that you can't really take it out of the musical. But this one, you sure can.
Yeah.
And so this was originally written for Bloodsong of Love. And what happened was that Bloodsong of Love is, in its current form, or the form that it arrived at Ars Nova, is a musical that is a rock and roll spaghetti western musical, and it's about this man who's known only as the musician, and his wife Santa Violetta has been kidnapped, and he's trying to get her back. And it's sort of this show about a quest and finding your tribe and following your heart and all this kind of stuff that operates fully in the world of spaghetti westerns. Mm-hmm. Initially, my conception of the show was it was half that, the spaghetti western musical, and then half the story of the actual actors who were putting on this musical. And the conceit was that it was this group of actors who were performing this show called Bloodsong of Love in this theater that was going to be torn down tomorrow. And they were all at different places in their lives, and sort of coming to terms with if they wanted to continue making theater, continue to be in the world of art, or do other things, or sell out, or all this stuff. And their personal troubles or their personal issues were sort of explored in this spaghetti western that they were putting on. So It was telling these two different stories. And so as I was in development at Ars Nova with it, we did a few readings, and then at a certain point, Ars Nova, who was really amazing, Jason Egan and Emily Schultz, they were the sort of creative forces there, who were working with myself and director John Simpkins on the show, and they basically said, look, we really like the spaghetti western stuff, and we don't quite like as much all the other stuff. They were like, this half of the musical is right on. And initially I was like, this is garbage. This is what I want to do. I'm an artist and I want to tell the story of the people and all that. But what they said, which was so correct, was that we think you can tell all of the stuff you want to tell about the actual people, all the stuff you want to say about art and about sticking together. You can do it through the spaghetti western musical. Mm-hmm. And so I rewrote the show, and I was able to say all the things I wanted to say. And of course, it was 10 million times better, and it felt 10 million times more authentic to write a spaghetti western musical than to have it be half and half. But the casualty of all of that was this song, Play the Princess, which I tried to make work in the context of the spaghetti western musical, but I just couldn't, because it is so explicitly about actors, about female actors. And it made perfect sense in the world of actors putting on a musical, and it just did not make sense in the world of spaghetti western cowboys and murderous prostitutes and all that. It just wasn't jiving.
Was it, so a few things, did it always have the title Bloodsong of Love? Did it have a different subtitle or title when it was the original version?
So it was always called the Untitled Spaghetti Western Project, and then it was it was always called that, and so I never really knew what I was going to call the whole thing. And then the musical they were doing was called Bloodsong of Love, and it was in the context of the original piece. Bloodsong of Love was adapted from an Italian spaghetti western by Dario Donati, I think was the name I made up, right? But I made it up. And so I always, and I actually now regret not doing this, but I always thought it would be fun to pretend that Bloodsong of Love was based on an old spaghetti western made by a director who I'd created. And I regret not doing it. I actually think the show might have been received slightly better
with that
in some ways if it was a lie adaptation. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, well, I still might do that for something. So
I also think I never thought of that as being like like if you get to do Bloodsong again, which hopefully you will, that would be a really cool revision. Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna say it's based on something.
Was there other cut material that was like full songs? Like were there full songs that were cut, and also it was the same exact actors, right?
It was the same exact, yes, it was the same exact actors. And so the actors played themselves in the other half, right? And so like we'll call it the backstage half. So the backstage half, it was Jason, MK, Katrina, Jeremy, all those people. The one exception was Eric William Morris in the backstage half played a character named Christian. Oh my God, I forgot his last name.
I'm going to pretend I'm not upset about this, but like, do I even have a recording of this? I definitely saw it once, but it was before the age when I was like saving copies of everything you did. I hope that you have a recording of it somewhere.
I have a bootleg recording of it, yeah. I haven't thought about it in so long, but the conceit of it was that it was all these actors, and then Jason was supposed to play the musician, and the theater made Eric play Christian play it because he was famous. He was like a famous musical theater person. And Lance, his story was that he was contemplating whether or not to leave the troupe because he was just cast in Iron Man the musical. Because it was like right after the Spider-Man time. And that was his like struggle, and everyone, and it was the main headbutting thing was him and Jason, and Jason was like, how could you sell out? How could you not want to make our art, in our shitty downtown theaters, and you want to go be in this big, sellout Broadway musical?
Wait, so there were other songs?
There were other songs. So the name of their theater troupe essentially was the Jamboree. And so there was a song called I Believe, and the chorus was, I believe, oh, I believe, oh, I believe in Jamboree.
I remember this now.
And so it was like this other opening number. Another song that I wrote for the show that would have been in the spaghetti western world, but ended up being cut because the character never really made it past the song, was Girl, Your Days Are Numbered,
right.
Which we've done in concert a little bit. It's a kind of strange, like country rock song. And the idea behind that song was that the musician and Banana get captured by this like lunatic who was gonna grind their face up with a washboard. It's like a sharpened washboard. Who's gonna grind their face and they get out of it. And he was singing to them by singing "Girl, Your Days Are Numbered." I think those are the only ones that got sliced.
I'm surprised that I Believe in Jamboree has never made it into like the beginning of a concert or something.
Yeah, I know. I have to revisit it. It was one that was kind of cut, and it kind of could be taken out. I don't know why I haven't come back.
So Play the Princess is sung by the original cast members Katrina, Rose Diedrichson, and MK Lawson.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about the performance on the album?
The performance on the album is it's the great Destinee Ray and L. Morgan Lee. And Destinee is an actor who I've worked with several times, and I just think she's great. She's just incredible. Her voice is so stunning, and she's so weird. She's weird in the best way, in the way that,
Weirdo in the good way.
yeah, yes. And I love that she like many of the actors who I love, either as just as a fan or as a collaborator, you can't put her in a box. She's not a type, which is something that probably has been unhelpful to her insofar as her professional life, but it's something that I think it is such an asset, because she's not this and she's not this and she's not this, because what she is a human being, and she's like so many things, and sort of similarly with Elle Morgan, who I'd been a fan of for years, obviously from her work in Strange Loop and other things, and have just always wanted to work with her, and I thought she would be a really great partner for Destinee in the song. But Elle Morgan also is kind of like typeless, and I really like the idea of having these two actors who do not fulfill the role of like the princess or the sidekick, singing about how they feel like they do, because I think that's really what the song is. It's like two women who feel like, why does she get to do that? Why does she get to do that? I wish I was that. I wish I was that. When in fact they both are just as traditional as the other one, and both just as non-traditional as the other one. It's
totally.
like yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I hope that we get the chance to see Destinee and Elle Morgan do it live at some point.
I know, me too. And they're, the vocals are so like, they're just gorgeous. They're so nuts, and the two of them, I think, sound so beautiful together. And something. It's obviously I wrote the song a long time ago, and I like it, but it always, I never want it to feel like catty. I feel like a lot of times when you have, in musical theater, especially when there's a song with two women and they're singing about the business or something, there's always this sense of like, it's like the anything you can do, I can do better,
Sure.
which is not a song for two women, but it's that kind of like, if you have a song with two women, they're competitive,
aggressive, yeah.
And it's not that, and it's so and it really feels like it's they're not fighting with each other, they're fighting with themselves, and they're fighting with what they think is the perception of them.
Totally.
They're fighting with the image that's been placed on them. And so I wanted that to come across in the song, and I think that their performances just do that. There's no sense of like, I'm going to outdo you vocally or whatever. With it really feels like these are two women who are struggling with something, in and of themselves, and they just happen to fit together. And I'd hope that them sounding so gorgeous together helps get across the point that they're actually not in competition. They're
right.
just, they're feeling the same thing.
Right. They can both do lots of things.
Yeah, they're in harmony.
Play the princess.
Play the princess. Hey, thanks so much for listening or watching to my podcast. Do me a favor and go to wherever you just listen to or watch this thing and subscribe or like or give us a great rating or review, and then head to bpn.fm/album to find out even more information about this podcast, more ways to watch, more ways to listen, and check out my album. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Album Podcast is executive produced by Liz Armstrong, produced by Dori Berenstein, Alan Seals, Kim Garris, and the rest of the team at the Broadway Podcast Network. Be sure to visit bpn.fm/album for both audio and video versions of this podcast and to listen to Album.
Anyway, someone's gotta play the princess anyway.
Hey everybody, I'm Joe Iconis.
And I'm Jennifer Ashley Tepper.
And on today's show, we're going to be talking about Play the Princess, which is a song that I wrote that's about theater and music and society's perception Nope. Society, as I said. Society. Great.
Society. That sounds like a great new word. Society. Come on, that's like relevant.
Yeah, I should remember that and put it in a post or on a t-shirt or something. Society. Or it's like a good it's a good drag king name.